Good morning. You know, several weeks ago, when I was instructed by Ms. Jenkins that I would be speaking about the property committee activities this year, I had a Bible verse that came to mind, along with a quotation from a very famous children's book of my youth, actually. But first, the Bible verse from Philippians 4, verse 13. I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. How wonderfully simple is that? Now, the other quote comes from the children's book, The Little Engine That Could. And you know the story. In the tale, a long train must be pulled over a high mountain after its engine breaks down. Larger engines were asked to do that, but they refused for one reason or another. The request was then made to a very small engine who agrees to try, although they've never been over the mountain before. The engine succeeds in pulling the train over the mountain while repeating the words, I think I can, I think I can. I can do all things through Christ which strengthens me. I think I can, I think I can. You know, those words speak to me. They really speak about what I think our church has gone through this year and how they've responded. For us on the property committee, at the beginning of the year was like many others. We had a couple of jobs that were carryovers from 2019 because the weather just would not allow us to complete them. One was replacing all of the fascia board on the sanctuary building. It was simply deteriorated to the point that it wasn't serving any benefit. And while doing that, we also took the liberty to adjust all of the gutter system on the building so the water would properly flow through the gutters and then to the downspouts. The other job was scraping, caulking, painting all the exterior wood trim areas on this building, as well as the administrative offices, along with the entrances to the fellowship hall building. But like the virus, we were also dealt a surprise with two repairs that were completely unexpected. One being the boiler system that serves, one of the two boiler systems that serve this building had broken. It was no longer going to be able to be used. And then along the way, we realized that the air conditioning unit that serves the Bell Choir room and part of the library had broken. Now, both of these units have a little age on them, so it wasn't a complete surprise, but it was not something we had planned to be doing this year, to be very honest. But, you know, there's a silver lining in everything we come across. And in this case, our silver lining in part is the capital improvement account. The other thing is that when we replace these air conditioning units, as you've heard me speak of over the years, what we've really generated now is we're saving about 20% in electricity costs just for the changes in getting more modern air conditioning units. So that is a blessing. But you know, the capital improvement account, you've heard me speak of it over the years. It was set up by the Finance Committee in session some years ago. And this fund continues to be a godsend. It helps to address unforeseen problems like the boiler and the air conditioner. It also allows us on the committee to plan for longer-term capital improvements that we're going to have to do at some point. It's also why it's so very important that we continue to maintain the funding of this account, because when you have a property as large as ours, there's always going to be expense. It's just part of doing business. Now, that was the information that Ms. Jenkins asked that I definitively tell you about. I want to share something with you, if I may, though, that I think is really important for you to know about this year. And it's not something new. It's something I've seen over the years. You've seen it. You may not recognize it as quickly, and that is that, like the little engine that it could, this church has continued to operate in a very challenging situation over this past year. It was just, honestly, these events that I've seen take place were just made more obvious because the virus was occurring. It made us stop and look at what was going on. You see, for us on the property committee, while the church was closed, I began to realize the care of the physical property was carried on unencumbered by people behind the scenes. Trash was being picked up, weeds were disappearing, flowers were being planted, and small engineering and plumbing projects were continuing. During this period of time, the members of the property committee also worked closely with members of the technology committee to address security enhancements for our building that we now have with the Ring cameras. Secondly, we assisted with some of the improvements in this very building to support the sound system improvements that have occurred. Now, this work wasn't happening because I asked someone, please go do this, or that we as a committee had set out and organized this work to be done. It was just happening because that's what people wanted to do. And, for the reality of it all, we didn't even meet several months this year in the property committee. In fact, we probably missed more meetings this year than I can ever remember in my involvement on this committee. But somehow, some way, the needs continue to be addressed. And they were addressed simply because of the selfless dedication by the people that make up the property committee to get the job done regardless of the circumstances. The principle, I think I can. The folks that I speak of are rarely identified, but include the following folks: Howard Newton, Doug Mayhew, Beth Nixon, Franklin Degatani, Jackie Holloway, Robert Mackison, Bucky Hill, Jane Thompson, Hank Malans, Bill Watson, Russ McFalls, Gary Cockrell, Doug Bain, and Tammy Buckler. I've had the opportunity to work with some very extraordinary people throughout my lifetime, and I'll tell you, these are 14 of those people. You may say, well, my goodness, that's a big committee, 14 people. I remind you, we never let anyone off the property committee. They were there forever, but there's a blessing even there. We have a new member that just accepted a lifetime appointment to the property committee this year. Pastor Joseph. I think he's going to work out very well. There's one other person that you need to know who is actually responsible for the daily maintenance and well-being of the church property, and that is the church sexton, Robert Washington. Now, with all the cleaning requirements that have gone on this year, it cannot have been much fun for Robert. But you would never be able to tell about the quality of his work and his friendly smile. And I think it's important for you to know that about Robert, while you may not all know him personally, he is truly the backbone of what makes all of this work from one year out to the next. So as we move forward in the coming year, there will be a few projects that will come up on our capital improvement list. In fact, we have one that we're working towards right now, which is to replace the door for the entrance to the church offices. As most of you realize, that door is actually original to that construction area, so it's not very energy efficient, it's certainly not very secure. And I know from talking with some of you that the door is a little difficult to get in and out of with that storm door on the outside. So hopefully in the next couple of months that'll all be fixed and be a lot better and certainly make the office space more comfortable. In closing, I would encourage all of you to be very proud of who you are as part of this church. That fact was never more apparent to me than this year on September 26th, when so many of you came out to help with our annual fall work day. We had more folks volunteer that day than at any time I can remember, and we got more accomplished in one day than we ever have in the past. Another example of the fact that we can do all things through Christ, which strengthens us. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you to Fred Jenkins and the property committee for keeping us nice and dry in our beautiful church. So this morning I came prepared with a Bible verse, as Rick did as well, and it's do not forget to do good and share with others. For with such sacrifices God is pleased, from Hebrews 13:16. But this morning I was struck by the last sentence in our prayer of confession. Give us the faith to devote ourselves to serving you in any way you call us. The Congregational Care Committee is a group that we work to meet the needs of individuals in our congregation and develop opportunities for fellowship. The committee is comprised of myself, Tammy Bucklew, Lydia Matheson, Pat Martin, Linda Smiley, Tom Reynolds, Shirley Ann Bain, Gabe Wallace, Betty Farrar, Doug McKay, and Carrie Gray. A few examples of our activities include the Shaw Ministry, where a group of dedicated knitters create shawls to wrap the recipients in love and prayer. We provide transportation to appointments and worship. We provide meals for those who are recovering from illness, injuries, or difficult times. We coordinate receptions after funerals. This year, we coordinated saying goodbye to Pastor Chris and hello to Pastor Joseph. Normally, we would have organized written dinners, coffee hours, delivery of Easter lilies, lunch bunch, and our fabulous church picnic. But this year, we had to be a bit more creative. and we've increased our card ministry and phone calls to members to help draw us together in a time when we feel so far apart. Now, this is not an exclusive committee. Anyone with willing hearts and hands is welcome to join us. And conveniently, we have a meeting tomorrow night at 5:30 in the fellowship hall. So please feel welcome to come. Thank you.
Oh boy, I am so excited to have the opportunity to get back up here. And I wore my pajamas because in my office I was one of the first to start wearing a mask, and look, a month later it became mandatory. And so I wanted to set the precedent that just because you're at home, comfy in your pajamas, and maybe holding back a little bit longer about coming out, then maybe we can change the precedent. So, I'm Catherine Ayers with the Christian Ed Committee. And, on March 13th, the whole country was brought to a halt. And our unprecedented times have now turned into our new normal. For me, I kind of enjoyed every minute of it. I mean, I'm not going to lie, right? We all kind of slowed way down. It was nice for my calendar to get cleared a little bit. It was nice not to have to jump up on Sunday morning, get dressed, and rush off to the church. I'm the senior high Sunday school teacher along with Barb last year, and I had a great class. It's great to see you, Till. And Till and Devin and Jeremy and John Ross and Shyla, they all graduated. And I used to get emotional, and then I got over it, and now I haven't been up here in so long, I'm getting emotional again. Thanks, me. So, but I was conflicted. Within about 2 weeks, I'm a technical person. I had all the tools at my fingertips, and I could feel God saying, "Are you really not going to connect with your kids?" Good grief. So anyway, and the answer was no. I'm going to connect. So got on that first call. They all jumped on, and it was awesome. We only left maybe 2 weeks ago before we all got right back on. So then it became obvious to me that there's no reason that the whole church couldn't do this. So I put the email out there, and all our Sunday school teachers embraced it, and we were back online pretty quickly, I think. And for me, and we had already made the decision to go through summer anyway before the pandemic hit. So this was just the natural procession to continue on, and I thank all of our Sunday school teachers for doing that into the summer. I think Sunday school is a powerful and special place. The relationship is a little bit different than what we experience here in the worship hour. And I'm a FOMO person. You know what FOMO is?
Yeah.
What is it, Tracy?
Fear of missing out.
I'm the fear of missing out. So the first thing I did was we've got to stagger all the classes. And so I was able to jump in with Roy Walker's class at 8:30 in the morning. Then we had Tripp and Greg at 11 o'clock. Janice and I have continued to co-host the elementary kids, and Ashton Harpine and I are co-hosting the senior high kids. Are you following the trend? I'm sitting in on all of them. And I even tried to get in on Soul Sisters this past week. They're meeting at 5 o'clock, and either they refused to let me in, or maybe they said
We just didn't need
I would worry I'll think about it. I want to thank Pastor Joseph for taking on the last 5 weeks of a Bible study. And there's even talk that we are allowed to have our own wing come back into a Bible study. So the committee has talked about how we can fit that in as well in the future. I also want to send a shout out to Jenna and Laurel, who continue to meet with the kids. They've been meeting for years on Wednesday nights. And Laurel's been walking. Ainsley still is walking with Laurel on Wednesday, Thursday mornings. So I really appreciate the mentoring that those two have done to our youth over this time. So our committee is, Janice Mayhew is our chair. I want to thank Karen Gregg and Tammy Buffalo. That position is vital to our committee in keeping all of our supplies and helping us with curriculum and just standing side by side with the committee. And also a thank you to Barb and Linda. Again, staff positions are crucial to the committee, so we can't be a committee and do what we do without them. We meet monthly, just like all the committees do, to talk about Sunday school, vacation Bible school, Bible study, youth group, and we are already working on planning for vacation Bible school next year. Tammy, Janice, Ainsley, and myself have met. We're going to do our own curriculum. We're going to change the format up a little bit, maybe not meet 5 days in a row. We're looking at possibly meeting a number of Saturday mornings. That's in the works. So, of course, obviously, all these things weren't able to happen this past year, but we are working hard to figure out how we can reach out. This month, Tammy and Joseph will be putting together elementary age kits that Janice and I are going to deliver personally. So parents, be on the lookout for Janice and I contacting you. We're looking forward to coming out and actually meeting your kids at their home and offering these kits out. Next Sunday, Roy Walker will start the path back up. And so I invite everybody to join us at 11:15. You should be getting that information via email. If you're not getting emails from the church, you need to call the church on Monday morning and give them your email, because there's a lot of information coming out through that means. And the elementary and youth, they're being sent directly to the parents. So there again, if you're a parent and you're not receiving the Zoom information, please contact the church. The success of Sunday school and the Christian Ed programs can only be done by the support of all of us. So stand up. This is all for you, Lee. Stand up if you have attended Sunday school, attended a Bible study, if your kids have attended Vacation Bible School, your grandkids have attended Vacation Bible School. Can you please stand up for me? And at home, you can do this too. So, yes, if you've attended one, I would expect that we've all pretty much attended one of those things. And remain standing. You can sit down if you have remained standing if you've taught Bible school or volunteered in Sunday school and any of those programs, if you'll just remain standing. So yes, my point is that this committee is not successful, you may be seated, without all of you. And so I think we all recognize the importance of it. We thank all the other committees, property especially, for keeping all the other things functioning in order to keep this vital committee in place.
Thank you, Raymond. Good job.
I'll be sleeping in the back.